All right, we're back at it on the SuccessFlow podcast with a brief episode this year, kind of like last year. It's Christmas. You're all with your loved ones. You're all excited, probably a little tired, but 'tis the season, and we just wanted to share some holiday cheer, share what we're going to be doing for the holidays, and wish you all a Merry Christmas on a brief episode. So, Stephen, what's on the docket? How you feeling going into the holly jolly season?
Yeah, Merry Christmas, brother. It's good. We got, we still got the kiddos, 12 and 10, who are all excited about good old Saint Nick coming down the chimney, coming into the house. And, it's funny because, we got Jack who, is very much still into Christmas and the beliefs are high and, we're still got the elves going and all that kind of stuff. Although it's funny with the Candy and Snowflake, the elves that are joining us. And then we have Peppermint, the snow fox that, surprises us every morning. Jack he understands that is a way to get us excited about Christmas. So he's actually helped us out this year a little bit because Victoria still believes there's some magic and trickery going on there. And she wakes up every morning searching for those little guys. But what's funny is, I don't know about funny, but Jack is 12 and he still has this belief and we will not let that die. We're not going to do it.
Dude, Megan and I were in the same boat. Our Christmases were so great, but it was a prerequisite that we were on board and believing. And I'd come home from college still. My grandma would get her jumps in edgewise and you better still believe or there won't be any holiday magic. So I think it's amazing. It's a really polarizing topic these days, isn't it? Like whether you give truth out the gate, which I have friends that abide by that, but there's so much. It's the one time we can get magic going, and that's not true. We can get magic going any time of the year, but it's like everyone's kind of on board, which is really part of the incredible piece as we wrap up year after year.
Yeah, hopefully none of our listeners are listening with their children right now.
I was thinking about that.
But yeah, it's cool. I think it's cool because I was a believer for a long time too. And you always you see the different gifts that were written, brought in from Santa and whatnot. And, Kim and I, my wife and I were like, we did change course a little bit. We're like, well, we don't want him to get all the credit for all the best gifts. So we always just do one from good old Saint Nick, and then the rest is from us. And so it's definitely an exciting time. It's usually one of the coolest ones too. And the magic that they have in their eyes and still the belief. It's like, have you ever heard of taking, going to Disneyland for the first time? Like, do you remember what that was like? And it's like the magic in their eyes, just unbelievable. They're like, where am I? What is this? And we don't have those times, especially as adults. We don't have those moments very often of just an awe and excitement and joy. And this time of year brings it back for me, seeing that in my own children. And it's like, yeah, there is a lot that is just, if you're more present and more aware and you can find that joy all throughout the year, but it's a good reminder of getting back to that. It's so tough with, we've done a busyness episode before. And I know you and I talked about this right now, this current time of year in our professional lives is extremely busy. This is this December, January is crazy for me where I forget to have that time to just really sit back and, find that joy. It's, because you're just work right now. But when you have that day, like today, Christmas Day, and you see that magic in, your nephews, your nieces, your kids, your cousins, or whatever, and families all together. And it's just a good reminder of this is what life is all about. And it's whatever that belief is for you and just finding that joy. And, it's a neat reminder is all I can say. And I can't wait for, I wish a bunch of happiness on everybody on this day today.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And we were chatting about it before we jumped on. And it's also just that time of year that I used to struggle with a lot because of the people that are no longer around that made that magic happen. And a lot of people are in that boat that it just takes you back and there's a real to feel those feelings and be able to approach them, as cliche as it says, with a sense of gratitude, and that you can go back and really try to visualize and use all your senses to go back to that time. And that's a tool that I've been using, and my sister and I help each other out about just those conversation, reminiscing. That's half the the joy of the season, right? Is running through those replays and just being grateful and knowing that you're making new ones now and that this will be another milestone down the road. It's back to that winter arc of a reflection and everything. And it's much more fun when you're approaching it with a mental state of gratitude. And if you can, compartmentalize the stress of whatever's going on in your work life. I can't imagine how many, I've heard it multiple times lately. Like, I don't know how I'd get everything done without Amazon right now. Like Jeff Bezos has made, has made
Christmas shopping is like,
and I'm old school. I think going out and going through the process, that is like something that I don't like to let go of. At least it's very short these days, but the ability to be able to make sure that you're going through that intention of shopping and having it come to your door. I think keeping up with the modern day, Bezos has helped a lot of families out.
Well, it's funny you say that because when I was a kid, we would go Christmas shopping for my mom on Christmas Eve. And it was a tradition with my dad. So we would go out, me and my two sisters, and us four would go out and find all of my mom's gifts on Christmas Eve. Like, how ridiculous is that? It was the busiest shopping day of the year, I guess, besides Black Friday, but it's like the day before Christmas. And it was jam packed with people everywhere. This is before online delivery, right? Like this wasn't available. There was no Amazon or anything. So we're running around all over the stores. We'd go out to lunch. I remember my dad always leaving like a Christmas tip for the server, just like it was his tradition to leave like a big fat Christmas bonus for him. And but I just remember us running around like crazy, and like we always got it done though. My mom was always excited and happy about, you know, the gifts and things and Christmas morning, even though she didn't really care about that. She always just wanted us to be together. But we would all go run around and do that. And you're right. It is so much easier now to just be able to click a button and get things ordered. So that way we can, you know, but I do say that there is something to that where you find if you're doing it with others, like if you're only going out there shopping by yourself, like, yeah, it's a pain in the ass. But I do find that those memories were so fond, like of just being with my sisters and my dad and us scrambling to, you know, looking back, it was just a great time. And,
see, I actually like that going out alone. It's kind of, I don't know, meditative or I don't know. Going through that process, you're just solo. You can go through your own thoughts of what people like and putting yourself in their shoes. And it's almost like therapeutic to go by yourself. But when you're going with someone else, grabbing a coffee or a beer and having lunch and bouncing ideas off each other really is great.
Yeah, that's what Kim and I did that. Where, you know, the kids went to my mother-in-law's and we went out and had lunch and just hung out. And that was, you know, that was fun. It was nice and a bit therapeutic. But I see what you're saying, like going out on your own. The only problem is especially if you wait till Christmas Eve like we did, like by 3:00, you're stressed out as hell if you don't have the gift yet. You're just like, oh shoot, I gotta get home. I gotta get this wrapped. I gotta get ready for Christmas Eve dinner and all this stuff. Like I don't have the gift yet because we didn't know what to get. Like we just went out and found something that called us. And
those ideas do pop up though. That's the part of it too. Like stuff that you hadn't even thought of, or it triggers you to go find something else. Oh man,
dude, I remember I got her the absolute worst gift ever. I think it was like, I don't know. I was a senior in high school and I was like, I'm using my, you know, I want to go on my own. I ditched like in the morning I was with my dad and my sisters. I was like, I'm going to go get something really cool for mom. And I'm going to do, you know, I went on my own. I ditched them and dude, I couldn't find anything. And I was in that scramble mode till like 3:00. And I'm like, I got to be home by 4:30 to get ready for Christmas Eve dinner. Like I was just saying, I didn't know what to get. And she was in an office job at the time. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll just find something maybe like comfortable, like a massager or something like that. And I ended up grabbing like this stupid neck brace that attaches to your desk chair. Do you remember this? You were probably a master tax.
You could probably use it right now. Given
I could use it right now. My neck is so sore from that head injury. But yeah, I got her this stupid thing. She opens it up and it looked like it was like for an injury recovery patient. And she's like, what is this? And I go, I don't know. I waited too long or last minute and I just impulse bought something stupid. And so I never did that again. And I really did my research and made sure I got her something good. I learned from that. It was so bad.
I love that. When Paula and I first started dating, our first Christmas together, like spent with the family, she was in kind of it turned into a hilarious joke and I couldn't care less. But at the time, I'll never forget, she got me this potty putter and it was like a green that goes underneath the toilet.
Yeah.
And has a little putter and a little hole. So
you're sitting there. And
it's a gag gift. You know what I mean? And I forgot what I got her, but I went overboard. Those first years of dating, I love it too. I just love gift giving, and they were thoughtful and everything. And she was kind of grumpy for a couple hours while we were eating breakfast over it. Tracy, like, he got me all this stuff, and I got him a potty putter.
Potty putter. That's so funny. I tend to do the same thing too. I forget, like, I get a bunch of stuff and I'm like, I feel like I need to do another one. Oh, I need to do another one or whatever. But this year we're sticking to our guns. We set a budget and a quota, and it's like, she's like, stop surprising me. Like, and I was like, okay. So I think this year we're going to stick to that and put more focus on the kids, and that'll be fun. But
we've said that the last
it never works.
I always break. I'm a rule breaker there for sure. But that is one thing I wanted to bring up when Austin, you say like budget. This is a very capitalistic holiday. We all know it. It's so much money is generated in this year from consumerism, et cetera, and it's a part of it. But one of the things, like, we all get those, there are two types of texts you get on Thanksgiving Day. Just since we just went through this, I was thinking about it. There's like the Happy Thanksgiving. You can tell it's generic, and it's great. Like, that's still a really great feeling that you cross someone's mind. But when you're thinking about the people that you're not necessarily going to buy a material item for, I'd really challenge all the listeners to pick 5 or 10 or however many you feel people, and take the time, batch it in, again, get a little flow state, and just shoot them a message on what gift they bring to you, and feel that out. I know time is stretched, but that is something that means when I get those on Thanksgiving, there's no better gift. The fact that you cross someone's mind and it's personal to them, that's a little piece of something you can do that has no cost besides time, which on this podcast we say is the most important thing, but a great exercise, and it feels great for both parties. Yeah,
dude, that just happened. So Jack's baseball hitting coach, he's not his normal main coach. He sends me a text message, and obviously, I shared it with Jack, but he says, hey, just wanted to wish you a very Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for letting me work with your boy. He's a really great kid. And it was like, he did not have to do that. He didn't have to send that at all. And it was just a cool thing of like him being appreciative of us allowing him to work with our son. And then, he enjoys that, and he, gives compliments about, how he feels about him. And so it does go a long way. And that is a good reminder to do that. And even if you have the ability, even handwritten notes, if you wanted to extend even further, you do a handwritten note to somebody, or like the top 20 people that impacted you in your life this year. And you just say a couple of words of like, hey, happy holidays, happy new year, Merry Christmas, whatever. And, we still have time. By the time you listen to this episode, you still another week in the year. And even if you get it in, get it out after the first of the year, it's still a nice gesture to say you were an impact on my life. And a handwritten note or even a text message, it makes you feel good, but it also makes the other person feel really good, because you don't have to do that.
It's so funny you say that, because it's something that I'm doubling down on next year when we talk about cutting through the noise to the folks we're trying to reach in the business world. And we don't need to talk about the amount of outreach we get and marketing and sales letters, but it's that saturation versus deprivation. What is working, what is rare, and dialing into time block those handwritten notes is something I'm dialing up. I do it currently for specific cases, thank yous, new customers, but trying to, again, just stretch that a 5 or 10% because of the nature. People read it. You open handwritten items. So great reminder there. I think it wouldn't be the SuccessFlow podcast if we didn't talk about intentionality a little bit, just going into the holiday season. We talked about it a few episodes ago, but we're here and repetition and consciousness equals behavior change. And just really putting yourself on New Year's Day, how you want to be feeling. And have some fun, maybe go a little bit overboard, whatever you're feeling, but really put yourself in that position of how you want to feel January 1, January 2, and what kind of hole you want to dig yourself out of, and go into these parties with how you really want to feel. If you're really wanting to get, go extra hard, Sure, do it. Maybe you have an extra really 2 big recovery days with some fasting, hard gym sessions. But just that intentionality, like this is your reminder. You don't want to be in the mindset of that sluggish January that the masses are in. If you're listening to this podcast, you're probably not one of those, but just intentionality. Had to get it in there.
I remember in my 20s, New Year's was my favorite holiday, early 20s especially, favorite holiday, because everyone had to stay up late. And I was always wanting the party to continue on. Never wanted the party to end. And it was the best holiday because if, Thanksgiving, everyone passes out early because they've been partying all day. And, other holidays, usually a day things or whatever. And this is like New Year's is always, everyone has to stay up late that night. And it always was a blast. But as I've gotten older, man, it does take 2 days sometimes putting on a late night like that. And they're few and far between. They just don't happen anymore. And so it's a good reminder. And, especially it's a middle of the week thing. So you've got routine during the week. And a lot of listeners to this podcast have built routines from, whether listening to us along the way, or maybe we've provided some value to kind of nudge you along to creating that routine, whatever that looks like for you throughout the week. I mean, these are like Tuesday nights, Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. Mm-hmm. And what do you normally do on a Wednesday morning? Yeah, you might give yourself some grace and like take the day off because you're celebrating with family and all that stuff. But then what are you doing on Thursday morning? Are you going to get back at it, or are you going to be so sluggish that from the Tuesday night parties that you can't get things back on track? So it's just kind of focusing on those things. And, what do you want to see when you step on the scale? What do you want to see when you get back in the gym? Like, do you want to feel great about going to the new year? Do you want to feel great about, taking 2 weeks off sets you back quite a bit of progress that you've had in the last month.
Mapping to those values that what you really want. I'm already a little bit in my head about it. We're heading back to the homeland, to the Emerald Isle with Christmas in Killarney. And I love me some Guinness.
It's going to be so fun.
I'm on partaking. It's like, how many Guinness do I really want to have over the course of 8 days? Yeah. But those pubs are so full of holiday cheer and people we haven't seen in a while, but going about it with intention this year. It's not going to be like the Ireland trips of old. So and it's going to be great to approach it that way, but we'll report back in January to see how well we did. But just that reminder, we thank you for listening. If you're listening to this around Christmas or whenever you get to it, thank you for listening and giving the feedback for this podcast. We do it for not only ourselves, but it is a part and act of service. It's one of those things that go both ways, like those text messages. And whatever holiday you are celebrating this season, we just want to say thank you very much for listening to this podcast and keeping us a part of your life throughout the year. Hope you have a great holiday, whatever you are celebrating. And we'll catch you in the new year. Talk soon.
Cheers, y'all.